I started getting a little nervous at that point because it hurt really bad. I thought I had ruptured at that point. And I looked at my midwife and she was looking at me and she knew without me saying anything. I was like, it really hurts. Like, it doesn't feel the same and it really hurts. And she's like, you're going to be okay.
I mean, you pretty much hit the ground running, pushing, and...
We probably got up to the room and stuff at like 11:15. And then Jack said, like, I was pretty much pushing like as soon as I got into the bathroom.
Yeah.
But she's like, you really started like actively pushing probably around like 11:45.
Yeah. And then you pushed for probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Yeah. I think it was like an hour and a half. Yeah.
Hour and a half. Mm-hmm. And then we hit a roadblock, plateau. For a second there in that first little stint of pushing, like I saw his head.
Yeah. And they were like yelling, baby, baby.
Yeah. So I saw his head and I'm like, I can't tell if he's gotten here. I can't really tell what I'm looking at right now. But then there was like no progress being made for a good little stint. So they had
and I was pushing really hard. And she's like, you're a really efficient pusher. And I'm not really sure why he's not coming out. And up until this point, like my midwife is a freaking bomb.
She was pretty impressive.
She was amazing. So with being a VBAC, a anesthesiologist and a doctor have to be in the hospital when I show up, and they have to stay the entire labor. So the doctor was asking, and she's like, he was asking, like, what is she dilated to? How is progression? Like, what's baby doing? Like, all of these things. Did you guys do an ultrasound? Da, 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 da. And she's like, it doesn't matter. She's pushing. I can see the baby's head. Like she was just like boom, 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 boom. And I literally like snapped and she's like, yes. And I was just like, you are amazing. Cause he didn't even come in. Like this was all being informed through the nurse. Cause she was just like, we don't need any extra things happening in this room right now. Crystal's progression's going great, yada, yada. But I also didn't really want to be checked. I also didn't really want to know my dilation. I just wanted to go in and have my baby and whatever. So she was like, she knew that. And she said, at the point that I had been pushing for like an hour and a half, she's like, we can see him. We can see that he's trying to come down, but he's not fully coming down. You're really efficient at pushing. I need to kind of see what's going on to see if he's in the right position or what's going on. So then she was like, I'm going to check you. So she got up there, checked. She's like, he's in a great position, but you have a cervical lip. So that was preventing him from coming down. And if you guys don't know, like a cervical lip is part of the cervix that hasn't dilated back before baby's head really starts to come down. So his head was pushing on part of the cervix and it wasn't allowing it to go up anymore. So if you keep pushing on that piece of the cervix, it will get inflamed and like swollen. And a lot of times it does send people into a C-section because they can no longer get that lip to come back. Or you end up getting a epidural and they usually give you like Benadryl or something to decrease that swelling, and you wait a little while longer to push and so on. So knowing I didn't want an epidural, knowing I didn't want a C-section, she said, we're going to change you into these positions. So they had me end up rolling on my stomach with one of my legs up for like 20 minutes on that side, then 20 minutes on the other side. And then was there another one? I feel like there was 3 of them.
It was 3. I think one was, it was stomach side or back side, but it was both sides for sure. It was like 20 minutes, 25 minutes each side or each position.
Yeah. And that was probably the worst because at this point my body had been pushing on its own and then I was helping it to push. So I was obviously having painful contractions and my body was pushing. So I was having to fight my body pushing and get through all these contractions and try to relax enough for his head to ease off of that cervix.
And she tried to help with that too. Like she actually like used her finger to move it past too, I think.
At the end. Yeah. So we did all those positions and I just kept saying, can we be done with this? Like, I want to be done with this part. I cannot do this anymore because it's like I'm fighting my body so much. I've never had to fight my body so much.
But it was weird to watch because it's like you were not actively pushing, trying to physically, consciously do it. And it was like you'd almost like doze off in between contractions.
Yeah, I did definitely doze off a little bit. I do remember like praying in that position and just being like, God, you've got to help me get through this. Like, this is exactly everything I've wanted. Like, I think I was fearful at that point because I knew that having that lip could prevent me from having him that way, like vaginally. And I just needed to be calm and like get through it. And nothing was calm after that moment. But at least I felt like a little bit of peace about it. And yeah, so then we ended up being done with that piece.
So that was about an hour. So you pushed hard for like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. There's like an hour where you were
trying to fight it,
pushing, but not consciously pushing. And then after that, it was like PR go time, like everything you got. So they got like this ski handle, like this handlebar thing across the bed that you were holding on to, changing a few different positions. Then they got this ski rope handle, and they had you pulling against that so that you can kind of like crunch your whole body in while pushing. Yeah. And they were like trying to explain what muscles to contract. And they were like, think of it like you're doing a lateral raise. I'm like, no, not a lateral raise. Think of it like you're doing a row. And then
and that really clicked. Yeah.
So you started doing it like a row, and I'm like, I'm useful here.
Yeah. Well, so at this point, they had flipped me back. They said, get in whatever position you want to be in. So I got back into like that kind of like squatting position. And then she actually ended up pushing the cervical lip out of the way. And let me tell you, having someone's hand up there while you're trying to get your baby out is not fun, zero fun. And it hurts because they're pushing this tight lip over the baby's head. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, they had a bar, and I pulled on the bar for a little while. And then was there something else?
Well, there was the handles, like the standalone.
Oh, they had the handles on the side. Yep. And then they had like several different things I could put my feet on. I put my feet on the bar, and then I put my feet on the little stirrup things, and like all different kinds of things. But yeah, that was really helpful. You're like you're doing a row, and that was it. Like that really helped me to do it. And I felt like, so I didn't want coached pushing, but because I had a lip and because I had already been pushing for an hour and a half to 2 hours, my body was so exhausted. And then I was fighting my body to not be pushing and stuff. So I had already been doing things for like 2.5 hours, very actively, like aggressively doing things with my body to try to get the baby out. So by this point, I was like so tired. My body was very tired. And so I feel like I wasn't as efficient with the second part where I actually pushed him out. So it was almost like I needed reminders of like, okay, pull here, push here, like, so they ended up helping me a lot. And it was really helpful. Like during the contraction, they would say little things to me, and I'm like, you have to keep saying that. Like, because it's reminding me to do this or to use these muscles. But then they're like, don't push unless your body feels like it needs to push. Like, we're not going to tell you push, 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 push. They're just like, when you feel the urge to push, go for it, and that was so helpful. And it was just like everything. It was everything I wanted. It was so awesome.
Because like normally in a hospital setting, like you're given an epidural, so you can't really feel what your body is naturally telling you to do as well.
Yeah, you can tell a little bit, but
not nearly
you can't really. Yeah.
And then they typically want you just laying flat on your back with your knees up, right?
Yeah, I think that's a little less common now. I think that hospitals are realizing that there is actually success with women doing what they want to do. But I think more so like being on the bed is helpful, because that way they can actually catch the baby rather than like someone standing or whatever, which I did not want to stand. I wanted to stand the beginning of like start of labor, but then at the end I was like,
yeah,
squat me down. I don't want anything else.
So you're pushing, you're pushing. And that pretty much brings us to the Ring of Fire, right?
Yes, sure.
What is the Ring of Fire?
So I pushed so stinking hard to get his head through that lip. You
were hitting some PRs for sure. I kept looking over at you because I'm trying to juggle catching the baby, but then like comforting you. And there's a couple times there where you were like they offered laughing gas, and you were kind of like on the fence.
Yeah.
Like if then you asked me, and I'm like, no, if you do this, you're gonna look back on this and regret you took the laughing gas. So don't take the laughing gas. So that was, but you were kind of vulnerable at that moment.
Yeah, I was vulnerable, and I also felt like I don't know how long I have to keep going.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like, are we almost past the lip? Are we like, where am I at? And she was just trying to get me to relax enough to like get through that hard part. And you're like, yeah, don't do it. Yeah. So I was like, okay, we're not doing it.
Like I kept looking at her because she was obviously knowledgeable and she didn't seem fazed by anything. So I'm like, okay, if she's not fazed, if she's cool, calm, and collected, then I'll be cool, calm, and collected. So we just kept ripping with that. And then but I kept looking at you several times, and like you were pushing pretty hard. I mean, you had like veins coming out everywhere, doing those rows, and I could definitely tell that you were having it. You were not having fun there.
My entire body was involved in getting this baby out.
Yeah, and then so then the ring of fire. So baby's head pops out. Hazen's head pops out.
So it's when like the head is like partly out, and well, you feel the ring of fire when the head is coming out, but his head was like partly out, and that is quite literally the ring of fire. It just burns and it's stretching. Your skin is stretching at that point.
And he just chills there for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, and you want that stretch to happen so that you don't tear. So it's like you're trying to breathe through it. You're like, and they're like, this is a good stretch. You want to stay here. It's okay to relax your body. And I was actually able to relax like during that time. It took me a minute, but like you breathe through it. Okay, it's going to be all right. It feels okay. It's starting to ease off because it's stretching and it starts to feel a little bit better and better and better. But yeah, she had to like move that lip out of the way. And I finally got to that point, and I started getting a little nervous at that point because it hurt really bad all the way around. Yeah, I thought I had ruptured at that point. And I looked at my midwife, and she was looking at me, and she knew, without me saying anything, she knew exactly what I was thinking. And I looked at her, and I was like, it really hurts. Like, it doesn't feel the same, and it really hurts. And she's like, you're going to be okay. And then I saw her eyes wander, like going to the monitor. Is the baby okay? Looking at me, like, is she okay? Is she bleeding? Is she, like all the things. And she's like, you're okay. Like we locked eyes, and I think we like locked eyes for like a full on minute. And for her to like convince me, like, you're okay. This is normal. You've just never felt this before. Your baby's coming out right now. And it was like,
speaking of Hazen, the whole time, his heart rate was like 138, which is right where it should be.
The most perfect heart rate. And Rigel was the same way. The entire time I was in labor with Rigel, his heart rate was perfect.
Yeah, just cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah, but Hazen, they kept saying that. They're like, this kid is chill.
Yeah. So at that point, when the head's hanging out, I'm all right, my time to get involved here. So I come round back to catch him, and she was like, she didn't know which way his shoulders were positioned. So like, she's got his head, she's trying to find his shoulders, but then she's like twisting the head one way, then the next to find the shoulders. And I'm like, man, that head's probably not supposed to do that, is it? Looks like popping off here in a second. So she found the shoulders, and then I get into position, and then I catch him. He comes out. We flip him upside down so that he can exhale, start breathing.
Cough up all the stuff.
Cough up everything. At that instant, there's like blood gushing everywhere. But then I caught him, and then I put him on your chest.
Yeah, you guys had him there for a minute. I was like, can I have him? Yeah. But they were trying to get the stuff out of his lungs and stuff.
And then as soon as I caught him and like flipped him upside down, you could hear him like cry for the first time or squeal or whatever it was he did. And then,
he did not come out screeching like Rigel did. He came out like...
Yeah, it was kind of just like a cough, and then like pretty chill.
Yeah, but he was breathing, and his skin was going the right color, and
So that was pretty cool. I feel like you just had like this big sigh of relief at that moment, the moment you heard him. And I put him on you, and then we couldn't delay cutting the cord too long because you had torn. They had to stitch you up and you were bleeding more, hemorrhaging more. So they tried to push all of the fluid through the umbilical cord to him. And then I cut that pretty quickly after he was born.
Yeah, I was bummed about that. And like, I was looking at her doing it. I was like, do we want this to happen? And she's like, you're hemorrhaging. We need to get the show on the road. And so I was like, okay, I mean, whatever we got to do. Okay, here we are. Like, let's go. Cause you know, when you hear like, you're bleeding a lot, I need to stop it. It's like, okay, whatever you got to do, let's boogie on. And she's like, I'm going to get him as much blood as she possibly can. But there hasn't been a lot of studies on pushing the cord blood through the cord to the baby like that quickly. And so I kind of like looked up at Jack and I'm like, is this what we want? And it was kind of like it was already happening and I really wanted him to have all of his blood. So I'm like, they've done it enough. I guess we're going with it. This is what we're doing. Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately we couldn't wait for it to just stop pulsing on its own, but he did get all the blood back because it was white.
Yeah. Yeah, and they kept saying how healthy the placenta and the cord looked.
Yeah.
Like,
the cord was like super thick.
Yeah.
And then they kept saying like they were like looking at the placenta for a while after I had been stitched up and all that. They're like, look at this placenta. It is so healthy. And like, yeah, it's what diet does for you.